Hey everyone, Chris here for Cosmic Rage, bringing you a behind-the-scenes video for the first time. So, something that I've been kind of hoping to do and something that I want to keep doing in the future. So, admittedly, I'm pretty rusty on my frame-by-frame animation skills. It's been a while. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take kind of a go-at-your-own-pace online class to kind of knock a little bit of that rust off and get used to using some of the new tools that I'm going to be trying out. So, for instance, I have a new Cintiq tablet, and I'm also going to be working in Photoshop for the majority of my drawings this time as well. So, getting used to this new AnimDessn plugin. So yeah, I just want to kind of give you a little bit of an oversight as to a couple things that are going to be going on, and then we'll jump right in and get into animating. So, okay, so this is the class here that I'm going to be working with, right? So this is kind of the curriculum I'm going to follow is Henrique Barone's classical animation, workflow, and techniques. So the class had a really high demand from my understanding, so they ended up doing kind of a 6-week go-at-your-own pace. So, yeah, so if you guys like what I'm working on, and this is actually going to be the first exercise I'm going to be working on here, is going to be this kind of ball fluidity animation. So, if these classes, if what I'm getting into looks interesting, be sure to check out the class. So, and then we'll end up getting into characters towards the end. So, that's what I'm going to be working on. And then this here is the plugin or extension, from my understanding, of Photoshop. So it's this AnimDessn for Photoshop. And it basically creates these frame-by-frame spots, kind of similar to Flash, but not quite. But one of the things I liked about Photoshop is that I think it just has better brushes, and that's going to be the way that I want to go forward. So we're going to give this a shot as well. And there's this video here that you guys could check out on Vimeo from Stefan. And he'll go through, kind of break all this stuff down, kind of how you get into the timeline, how you can draw and insert frames and everything like that. So be sure to check that out if this is something that you're interested in. So, all right. So without wasting any more time, let's hop into Photoshop. All right, so we're going to be jumping into Photoshop. All right, so I got the AnimDessn extension already loaded up. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a new project. And when you do that, it's going to bring up this timeline frame rate. And I want to go with 24 frames a second. That's a good, nice number for traditional animation because it breaks down really easily. So 24 and a half is 12 to 6, and then you got the breakdowns of 2 and 4. So it breaks down really nice and easy, especially if you're going to shoot on 2s. And that means that each frame of animation is actually going to hold twice. So you're going to need 12 drawings. But one of the nice things about that, too, is like if you also have a faster movement that you need to break down even farther, you can have the ability to shoot on 1s as well. So it just kind of builds in a little bit of a buffer for you guys. So, and most of the stuff that I'm going to be doing going forward in this regard is going to be 24 frames a second. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know. So, all right. So what I want to do first is I want to create just a normal layer. And I'm going to pull that outside of this animation folder. And this is just going to be my guide layer. And what I'm going to do with this guide layer is I just want to draw a motion path that my ball is going to go on, right? I want to plan out my motion of where it's going. So I'm going to use a nice blue color here. Okay. And I want to have, a few, make sure that that's over to the timeline so you can write on it. And I want to make sure that I have a few different kind of sweeping motions and peaks and valleys and things like that. Points where I'm going to get a lot of contrast in my animation, right? So let's kind of have the ball maybe start here and do this nice sweeping motion down here. Maybe come up to here. And I'm going to just kind of rough this up before I maybe refine this a little bit more. Maybe come down, maybe come back. and then kind of just fall down. You know, I don't mind this, but I kind of want, I didn't really use a lot of this area over here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and kind of start over here. Maybe just get a nice sweeping motion here. You're going to see me undo a lot of keyframes here. Just trying to get this main portion done. That's not bad. Let's maybe go way down here. Then go up. You know what? I kind of like the idea of just doing kind of these little swirly motions there. You know what? Let's keep messing around with this a little bit more. Just kind of waiting to see if I can get something that I like here. It's fun just kind of go through and explore and see what kind of different motions you can make. Just on something that I'm looking for, like a more of a natural. Looking for just more of a natural movement here. Something that's not going to, you know, feel kind of forced. So that, you know, I don't mind that one, so I might just shut that one off and just keep messing around a little bit. Let's go in here. Because animation is all about having fun, guys. If you're not having fun animating, you are doing something wrong. That's for sure. Okay. You know what? I think I want to try and get an extra... I think I want to get like an extra like loop in here somewhere. That's not bad. That's pretty similar to the one I already drew. That's awesome. You know what? We're going to go with this one. Let's try this one out here. It's going to kind of go through here and, like I said, just going to kind of refine this one a little bit more. So I kind of don't like how these touch right here. So maybe knock this down a little bit so I can still see it. Then let's just kind of go down here. Maybe come up as high, but then I'll maybe bring this over a little bit. Kind of get more of a circular motion there as opposed to the arc. Alright, so let's go with this right here. Okay, so one thing you want to keep in mind on this when you're animating or when you're starting to lay your keyframes down, because that's what we're going to do next. You know what? Second thought, I'm actually going to shrink this up just a touch because I don't want to get too close to the edge of the screen here. So just going to bring that down a touch. Yeah, something like that. So, okay, so yeah, like I said, one of the things you want to keep in mind when you're animating here, when you're starting to animate, is we're going to be laying down what are called keyframes. Key poses, things like that. So those two terms are usually pretty interchangeable. And what they're going to be is going to be areas in your animation that are kind of at like the extremes. So they could be, even be called extreme poses too, kind of just depending on what you're doing. But in regards to those are going to be the areas where things are moving the fastest, right? Or the slowest, hence extremes. So, down in this valley here is going to be, pretty fast. Same with like these kinds of valleys. So one thing to kind of keep in mind when you're thinking of this animation, for instance, is just how much of kind of like a roller coaster this is, right? Like we want the ball to kind of, gain a lot of speed down here, but then as it gets to the top, it's kind of got to be, pulled along a little bit, right? So this is going to be another area too where we're going to want to draw one of our key poses. Same thing right here. We'll go faster here, and it'll start easing up here. So we'll go right here too. So right now, these are kind of our area, and then of course this is our, our starting and our end right here, right? So it looks like we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna have 8 keyframes in our animation so far, right? All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shorten up this guide layer to 4 seconds because I want this animation to last 4 seconds. Okay. So now that we got our extremes drawn out, like I said, we can actually kind of just refine these a little bit so they're more fluid. And you'll find that as you work in animation, if you guys are not working in animation, I'm just kind of curious about the process and things like that, it's a lot of push and pull. You're going over a lot of stuff that you have kind of done already, and that comes with experience too. So as you get more and more experience in animation, you find that you're maybe going over things less and less. So, all right. So just want to kind of round this part out a little bit more. Yeah, I can get behind that. All right. So let's just go ahead and take this guide layer. We'll take this maybe down to like 60%. That should be good. I'm also just going to lock it right now too. Okay, so if you look at our timeline here, this is our guide and then this is our animation layer. And our animation layer is in this folder right here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that these are 2 frames. So I'm going to go in here, just kind of zoom in a little bit. And you can see right now it's only 1 frame. So I want this to be on 2s right now. And we're actually going to change this as we go too, because we're just going to be drawing in these keyframes for now. So right now what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be drawing a frame here, in these areas that I kind of, built up the stroke a little bit, right? So let's grab a black. And we'll just start kind of laying down our keyframes. So we'll start here. All right. Then what I want to do here, I think, is I want to change the layer color here, and it's going to change it down to my timeline too. And I want to make these red because I think I want to make my keyframes red so I know where they are when I get into adding other frames so they don't just kind of blend in with other elements, right? So I don't know if I'll actually need to do this, but that's just something that I want to mess with right now. So okay, so up here is the onion skinning button, and I want to turn that on. And what that's going to do is it's going to show me all the layers that I have before and after, and there's some settings on here too. That's it. Forget which one is the onion. There we go. There's the onion skinning options here. So I'm going to do maybe 4 frames before. So I'm going to go here, and since I'm going to be drawing my next keyframe, I want to push this button, which is insert a new frame, but it's going to be on 2s. So if I do this one that's just on a 1, you'll see it only does half the time. So, and I don't want that. But it's not going to matter because we're going to be just kind of roughing out our timing right now. And that's the main thing that the keyframes are supposed to, the main purpose that they serve. We're just trying to get figured out the timing of where everything's going to take place. So let's get this other one drawn in here. So you notice that this one's a little bit more of an oval, and as the kind of the ball comes down, I want it to start stretching to help distort that speed. But I also think I want to give it, you know, just a little bit of a tail too. Might be a little too thick. So maybe we'll just go with something. Some kind of like that. Like I said, these are going to be pretty rough because our main purpose here is to just kind of get an idea. So don't worry about creating fantastic illustrations here. I mean, we mostly just want to get the movement done. So, and I'll actually go and change all these layers to red when I'm done. So we go ahead and make a new keyframe and go up here. All right, let's put like a little tail up here. One thing you want to keep in mind when you're drawing too is you want the weight of your drawing, the volume, to look pretty close to one another too. So, all right, so we're gonna go down here. Squash that out a little bit and get a little bit more of a tail going here too. All right, get another one going. Oops, move my tablet there. So you can see how this looks a little bit smaller than that. We're going to have to redo that so it looks about the same size. All right, that's pretty close. Get that little tail going there. So then here, kind of that same stretching that we've been doing. Get a bit more of a tail there. All right, get another frame in here. And that's going to be as the ball comes around here. That might be a little bit too big. Let's bring that down a touch. Nope, too much there. Again, get that little tail going. Make a new frame. And then I want this to just kind of smush at the bottom here. All right. So I'm just going to select all of these layers like I did before, and I just want to give, like I said, I want to give them a red label. And that's just for later when I start getting into doing further breakdowns and things like that. So, all right. I'm going to go to my onion skinning options. Whoops, that's not it. Is it this one? There we go. And I just want to put an 8 in here so I can see kind of everything. Okay. So I'm going to zoom out a bit on my timeline as well. I want to be able to see all this because what I want to do is I want to stretch these frames out now so they fill up this 4 seconds. And I want to do that so I can kind of get an idea as to what is playing right here. So, all right. So this last frame here, so I might have this one kind of hit the ground and then kind of stick just for the last little portion of the animation. So, okay, so let's kind of move some of these over a bit. And we'll start maybe just working with this first one. And like I said, we're just going to be doing a lot of playing around, a lot of hitting play and just kind of watching what takes place. So, now as the ball starts here, it needs a little bit more time to kind of reach its max speed as it reaches this valley here, right? So we want to kind of pad this portion of the animation with some more time. So I might give this maybe like 16 frames before it moves out. And then this one here, we want to tuck over. This one should be pretty quick, so maybe just give that a little bit of the time. So then as the ball comes around, it's going to start moving up this way. So it's going to start slowing down as it comes towards the peak, right? Like I said, think of a roller coaster and how it really hits that speed in the valley, and then as it comes up, it starts losing momentum and slows down up there, right? And so since it slows down as it comes in and as it's going out, this one's going to be a little bit more of kind of a longer, I don't want to say hold, but there's going to be more time that it's going to spend up here, right? So let's maybe give that from 20, let's maybe just mess around with that and see what that looks like if we give it like a second, right? Let's see what that looks like. So as the ball is going to come down around here, again, it's going to ease out and it's going to gain speed as it reaches this valley. And it's going to have, kind of the same amount of speed or feel the same as there. So give that, kind of 4 frames there. All right, so then the ball is going to come up and roll up around there. So again, we'll give that one plenty of time to kind of reach that. Okay, so we got this one up here. So this one will do oh, you know what? It looks like I got 2 drawings on the same layer, and that's what's throwing me off here. So I shut my onion skinning off because something didn't look right, and what happened is I got these 2 frames on the same frame. So what I want to do is I want that one to stay long like that. Just shorten this up just a touch quick. I'm going to do something to add a new frame in there. Shift these down. So if I click on this frame here, I can just grab this bounding box. I can just draw it around there and hit Command X, and that's going to cut that out. And I can get on this layer. I can go to Edit, paste into place, and this is going to put it right where I needed it to be. So then what I want to do is I actually want to go through here quick and just kind of renumber these because that's going to drive me nuts if that is off. I don't want layer 8, which is essentially frame 6, to come ahead. So, all right, so we got that taken care of now. So this is one that's going to hold up here. Then we get this faster motion here. Bring this one back over. So, then of course I want to change this label to red. There, and we essentially kind of made our first animation together. Alright, so let's just kind of give this a playback back, and we'll just kind of see how the timing feels. Okay. I don't think that feels too bad. So you might think that this one moves pretty quick, and that's kind of what I'm going for here. Is I'm hoping that this moves pretty fast. What I want to do there is I really want to create this nice big sweeping curve that kind of brings people in to the animation, and then maybe get a little bit more elastic or stretchy up in these two other loops here before it falls down to the floor. So I think that's going to be what I'm going to go with on here. Because just because we have the timing like this, for instance, just because this frame is pretty fast, its motion as it starts moving up this way, and even as it starts coming in this way, can cut into some of these layers here, right? So layer 3, which is frame 3, when this starts in the timeline, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be up here. This could be down here, right? We could be working in some of our in-betweens at that point. So we just want to kind of lay a little bit of groundwork so this doesn't start to feel really, really off or anything like that. So yeah, this is what we're going to go with here, I think. So okay, so like I said, we can always go through here and kind of refine this if we need to as well. So okay, so what we're going to do next is, now that we have our timeline set up, we have all of our keyframes that we want set up. We're going to go through and we're going to do some breakdowns and start kind of doing a little bit more timing for all these pieces, right? So in regards to that, we're going to make another layer. And I'm going to go ahead and just call this chart. And what this is going to be, we're just going to make ticks on our guide, which is going to help break down these motions here, right? We're going to help kind of start easing that ball out of this starting point and picking up more speed in the valley here. And then as it comes around, we're going to have it ease up here too, right? So let's just get this shifted over here. And let's get to work. Okay. So, go ahead and shut that off, and we'll start at the beginning here. Chart. I want to unlock this because I want to grab that blue color. So there we go. And X is a shortcut where you can toggle between your two colors. I should have mentioned that sooner. So I'll try and remember going forward to get some of these shortcuts and just kind of explain a little bit more kind of what's going on. So a little bit of a learning process on this. So, all right. So you can see in our chart, this is going to be our first frame, right? And if we move forward, This is our second. You know what? I actually want to move this frame now that I'm looking at it. This frame 2, I'm going to move so it's more here. So I'm just going to erase this tail here. I'm just going to draw this tail in right here instead. It's going to come down here, just like that. So if I go back to my chart, I want that frame to be right here. And what I'm doing is I'm making these like thicker marks here, but I want those to stand out against kind of the rest of the marks I'm going to be making. So, and that'll become more apparent when I'm going through and kind of breaking down my timing here. Okay. So this is our third keyframe here, right up here. I'm actually trying to just have this just kind of cross because I don't want to get it too deep in the timing here where it starts cutting into that point too. So, all right, then this is going to be the next one right here. All right. And this one, this is going to be another one that I'm going to change right here. It's going to nudge this back just a touch. Kind of move that. I'll move it right there instead. Go right there. All right, go back to our chart layer. Same thing, I don't want to get this mark too deep, so it cuts into there. We're going to go to our next frame. See, and this is another one that I want to change too. So, like I said, you're going to be finding yourself doing a lot of kind of pushing and pulling on your artwork. So I kind of move that there. Erase this tail a little bit. Look at this. They're just going to get it like that there. All right. Let's go back to our chart. We'll put a mark in this valley. Move forward to the next one. Get a mark up at this peak. So I'm going to want to shift this one just a smidge over as well. So to make sure that that's right there. As we go to the chart for the last frame, boom, right there on the bottom. All right. So that's the start of our chart. So yeah, we basically just put marks in for our keyframes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to start breaking down these individual motions, right? Right here. So if we put a mark about halfway through the motion there, that's what's called your breakdown. And that's what's going to be in the middle of this motion here. So after we put in our breakdown mark, we can start to further kind of separate, divide this portion of the animation into our easing, right? So we're going to put a mark in the middle there. Put a mark in the middle there. There. And there. So now the ball is going to go here to here to here to here to here to here. And these open spaces here, this is what gives that ball speed, right? So you can see that the ball is going to be moving slower here, and we're going to reach our peak speed here. And so just out of not curiosity, but just on a side note, if you guys look at animation books or art books, depending on, what you're doing, is they'll have that timing chart on the side. You know, it might have like a 1 and like a 10 there. And then it, might look, something like this. And that's just the animator marking like their spacing of their frames. Their timing and their spacing of their art. So just erase that. So, and I can show you guys in another video too what those look like. But they're I get a lot of anime art books that have the animation, and you see those in there all the time, and it's no different than other animated films, art books, and things like that. If they show the actual animation process where they show those initial drawings and stuff. So okay, so as the ball reaches this valley, it's gonna come up. So again, we're gonna want to break this down. So we're gonna get something right about in the middle here. So I think that looks pretty solid right there. And then we're going to break this down even more. So we'll go in the middle here. Oops. The middle. Middle. And I might even sneak another one in there because I want this to really slow down. So, all right. So again, as this comes out of the peak here, again, if we think of our roller coaster, it needs to descend for a little while first before it gains enough speed to really reach that max speed at the bottom. So we're going to go in and break this one down a little bit too. Just go in the middle there. Oops. Let's scoot this right over into this intersection. Divide that. Like I said, I might stick another one right in there too. All right. Okay, so it reaches its max speed and it needs to start beginning its ascent, so we can break that down again. So we have our mark there. Get our mark here. I'm going to have to cheat these ones down a little bit because I have this nasty intersection here. That down. There. Then I might sneak another one in there too. So, all right, let's keep moving on. So we got this nice little kind of reversed S in here. So we will get our frame right in the middle there. And now this is an interesting kind of motion because it is easing out here, similar to what we did. And if you wanted to ease it in here too, which I'm not going to, but if you wanted to, you would just break these down even more. So we would do what we've been doing by going in the middle here. Then divide that in the middle. That in the middle. And that in the middle. But then you would do that on this side too if you wanted. So you could, go in the middle here, about here, here, and so on. But like I said, I want this to keep going on that speed there. So, all right, so break this one down in the middle here. Middle there. Middle there. And middle there. And then one right in there. So, and it might actually come when I animate this that this actually slows it down too much and I end up having to get rid of those. But I'm not going to know until I actually start laying down more frames. So Just want to give you guys a heads up on that. Okay, so as this starts to come back around, we want to have our middle there. We want it to ease out of this peak, so I'm going to put one right there in the middle. There, there, and there. All right. So if we shoot this whole animation on 2s, we're going to need 96 frames. So we should hopefully have somewhere in the ballpark of maybe like 48 marks here at this point. Let's just go ahead and kind of count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 4, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. So we have 46 so far. One thing I might actually do in here, and again, this is going to come down to when I'm actually animating, is I might actually add one in here somewhere where I kind of stretch this out right before the impact. So, or it might actually be another mark like right here. So yeah. That is pretty much our timing chart for our animation. So that's kind of really all I wanted to get done today, was getting in our keyframes. So again, if we just kind of shut those off, we can kind of play back our keyframes of our animation. So we got our keyframes put in, which are going to give us kind of a loose roadmap in terms of drawing. We have our guide, which we have our keyframes on, which is going to outline our overall motion. Then we have our timing chart, which is going to help us place more drawings when we get into kind of the next piece that I want to record. So, all right, so that's it. I'm going to sign off for the day. Thanks for checking this out, and I really look forward to doing a lot of these exercises with you guys. So